This is from a book called Phillip's Dark Secret, which was published not too long ago. And has some revealing stuff in here about the royal family and Prince Philip in particular. It's revealing about what goes on in a little place in California called the Bohemian Grove. That I am very interested in, and you should be also. Time and again, those close to the royal family have admitted that according to the royals themselves, the sin is not in doing something morally wrong, but in being found out. In other words, the end justifies the means. In his bid to enjoy his life with as little risk as possible, Philip sought to be invited overseas where he could behave with far more freedom. A favorite jaunt involved the famous Bohemian Grove, deep within the California redwoods.
By my confession, unless you don't give a good goddamn about redemption, I know Christ is coming, but so am I. You would too if the sexy devil caught your eye. She'll suck it dry, still you'll cry to be back in her bosom. To do it again, she'll make you.
65 miles north of San Francisco, each summer, 1,000 or more very important persons, VIPs, the decision makers and opinion molders of the Western world, meet in mid-July to relax, attend lectures and debates, and enjoy themselves for 3 weeks. And they do more than that. They have some very peculiar pagan religion ceremonies, which involves a large fire, an owl sitting in a tree, all of them dressed in black robes, and they burn an effigy of care. For decades, the Bohemian Grove retreat was the major social event of America's male power elite and their overseas friends. And for decades, those who attended went in secret. Another reason Philip, as well as many others, loved to join them. In the 1970s, when Philip visited, members included Ronald Reagan, George Bush, George Shultz, Caspar Weinberger. Former Presidents Nixon and Ford were also members, as well as many of America's wealthiest businessmen. I have a photograph, ladies and gentlemen, of Bush, Nixon, Ford, and Carter, all around the fire, dressed in their black robes, circumambulating this fire while burning an effigy of care. An owl is hanging in the tree. They're wearing these very strange little amulets around their neck. It's all very indicative of a Druid or Celtic ceremony.
Don't be aroused by my confession, unless you don't give a good goddamn about redemption. I know Christ is coming, but so am I. You would too if the sexy devil caught your eye. She'll suck it dry, still you'll cry to be back in her bosom. To do it again, she'll make you.
Former Presidents Nixon and Ford were also members, as well as many of America's wealthiest businessmen, including David Rockefeller, William Randolph Hearst Jr., Hamburger King Ray Kroc, and the recluse Daniel Ludwig. Herbert Hoover called Bohemian Grove the greatest men's club in the world. The 2,700-acre grove on the banks of the Russian River in Northern California comprises 128 small camps, each operated by 20 or 30 members. These camps bear such names as Wild Oats, Woof, and Toyland. The claim to fame of President Reagan's camp, Owl's Nest, is a gin fizz breakfast Another camp nearby boasted a fine collection of erotica. Most of the time, members sit around and chat, discuss politics, business, and make deals. They also hunt, fish, or just stroll around. Urinating on the trees is one of the big things. Everything I've ever read about the Bohemian Grove is the fact that these men will not go to a restroom. They love to urinate on the trees. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you're out in the woods and you've got to go, you've got to go. But if the restroom is 3 feet from where they're standing, they won't go there. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's a ceremony of some kind. Maybe because they have to wear these pinstripe suits and be so polite and everything in their normal business dealings, maybe it's just a way to let loose.
Don't be aroused by my confession, unless you don't give a good goddamn about redemption. I know Christ is coming, but so am I. You would too if the sexy devil caught your eye. She'll suck it dry, still will cry to be back in her bosom. Do it again, she'll make you.
They also hunt, fish, or just stroll around, going from camp to camp for a drink, a meal, and a chat. Women are not permitted anywhere near the grove. Even the waiters and kitchen staff are all male. One reason women are banned is that a number of members jump the river when visiting the grove, quietly leave the sacred enclave in favor of a trek to nearby Gurneyville. More than 10 bars await them in the sleepy rural town, all bursting with high-class prostitutes who come from all over America and some from overseas, especially for the profitable Bohemian trade. One of the more notorious such taverns is Northwood Lodge, operated by a Ugandan named Manu Kanani. He freely admits that girls flood the town solely for the 3-week bash and earn small fortunes. According to Kanani, these were high-class girls, no streetwalkers. These girls were very sophisticated, very experienced. Kanani acknowledged that a photographer staying at nearby Hexagon House had his arm broken by a Texan rancher when he attempted to photograph bar patrons. He also remembers Prince Phillip coming to his bar and enjoying one of the girls. "Of course I recognized him," he said. "I'm a Ugandan. I know what the Queen of England's husband looks like. There were pictures of him all over Uganda." Convicted San Francisco Madam Brandy Baldwin revealed how she supplied prostitutes, champagne, and entertainment to Bohemian members. "I did the Bohemian for 10 years. They were such beautiful people, very generous. In the beginning I was working out of motels with just a few girls, but it got to be so much fun that I rented a little house in the woods. A beautiful little place. The girls used to bring all their fancy underclothes so they could do little shows, and the gentlemen just loved it." But she had no recollection that Philip ever came to one of her shows. There were other overseas parties Philip loved to attend, but that's the end of the Bohemian Grove part. And I just wanted to sort of acquaint you a little bit with the Bohemian Grove. It is for the in crowd of the Illuminati.